Welcome back to another video in the series that I'm calling Destiny Anime Builds. Essentially, I find an anime character and make a build around in the game in regards to the subclass, certain weapons, exotics, and even fashion. In my previous video, I decided to go with my Roy Mustang Solar Warlock build focused around the Incinerator Snap, because obviously that is a tribute to Roy Mustang, Colonel Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, in the comments of that video, you guys gave some fantastic suggestions, but the one that really stood out to me was the Levi Ackerman Hunter Strand build. If you haven't watched the series, I'm not going to spoil you, but essentially, Levi is probably the most broken character in the anime that isn't a Titan. And him with the ODM gear paired together, absolutely destructive. He's super fast, super durable, and I think there's something that we can do here with the Strand Hunter. Before we talk about the fashion, I want to talk about the exotic I'm using and why. If for some reason you don't want to use this exotic, that's totally fine. If you strictly want to, have legendary gear for fashion, that's cool. And if there's any other exotics that you guys would suggest, just, something that looks similar, something that looks good fashion-wise, again, put those in the comments. I am 100% willing to hear you out. But the reason I'm using this exotic, the Cyrtarachne's Facade, again, this came with Lightfall. The reason I'm using it is because it's perk. Acrobat's Focus. Gain Woven Mail when activating Grapple. Increase flinch resistance while Woven Mail is active. If you don't know what Woven Mail is, Woven Mail, your body is encased in a protective mesh of tightly woven strand matter, greatly reducing any incoming non-precision damage. Essentially, Woven Mail is just free damage resistance. It's free armor. It stacks on top of tier 10 resistance. And if you, like I said, if you ever watched Attack on Titan, Levi is a pretty durable guy, okay? So I think this is pretty fitting. Next, let's go over the fashion. So first up, I'm going to be having the legendary helmet on, and then I'll put the exotic back on. But for the legendary, I think this looks fantastic for a Levi Ackerman, look-alike, in my opinion. So first up, the helmet here, we have the Coutier mask. Again, this is a Eververse item. It might be available in Bright Dust, but you can always get it for silver. Not going to recommend that you do that, though. But the one good thing with this helmet, and I recommend getting it whenever it comes along, is that it gets rid of the hood portion of any cape that you put on. So if I put on a different helmet here, again, the hood comes back up. That's why I really like this helmet here. Next up for the gauntlets, we have the Coutier's grips again with the Rustberry shader. Again, it gives us that leather, and the white for the shirt. Next up, on the chest armor, we have the Lux vest with the same shader, the Rustberry. Again, kind of looks like a jacket. It's got the zippers on and everything like that. I think it fits pretty well here. Kind of, fits the arms really well, in my opinion. For the boots here, I'm rocking the Gumshoe Gumptum Strides with the Amethyst Veil shader. Again, it fits the black pants with the silver straps of the boots and stuff like that, so I think these fit perfectly for that. And then for the class item, I went with the Be Thy Guide cloak, and then decided to rock the Smashing Success shader. Again, there's a couple other green shaders, but the reason I like this one is that it actually makes this top part green, where some of the other shaders make this top part black, and it has the bird on it. Gotta have that freedom. If you know Attack on Titan, you've seen spoilers, you know what the bird means, or no, I'm not gonna say anything else. The exotic helmet back on, and the shader that I'm actually using for is the Iron Foot Sight. Again, if you want to put that on, that's totally fine. But as you can tell, for the class item here, I decided to put on the good old cowboy hat, the class item you can get from the Spire of the Watcher, and put on the Gambit Celadon for the green shader. Again, makes the cowboy hat, that really dark brown / black, and I think that fits. If you've seen Attack on Titan, you know the Kenny scene. I figured this was a good memento for that. Now, let's go over what I'm using for the build under the Threadrunner Hunter subclass. For the super, obviously we have the Silk Strike, which is the rope dart, directly hit a target, do the wide swing to hit multiple targets. Again, very good super for crowd control. Plus, it does give you unlimited grapples and unlimited ensnaring slams, which again, activate your air move to consume your class ability energy and dive to the ground, suspending all nearby targets on impact. Using this ability extends class ability cooldown time. So again, being able to suspend those targets is good, and it stuns unstoppable champions as well. For abilities, you can either go with Gambler's or Marksman's Dodge. It honestly doesn't matter. If you wanted to use Marksman's Dodge just for the cooldown, because the cooldown is faster, you will be able to have that ensnaring slam more often, which is good. But if you did want to dodge near targets, you could potentially get your melee back, the Threaded Spike, which again does sever targets, which reduces their damage output for a short time. But honestly, it doesn't matter which one you want to use, but we are going to be trying to utilize that ensnaring slam as much as we can. For movement ability, I'm going with triple jump, but you can use what you'd like here. And then for our grenade, we're going with the grapple here. Again, you'll be able to grapple to a target, and then you can do the grapple melee and all that great jazz. But the reason we're going with grapple here, again, Levi Ackerman build, because of the strand aspect of Widow's Silk here. You have additional grenade charge. Your grapple creates a grapple tangle at the grapple point. So we get 2 grapples now, which means double the amount of flying and swinging around. For our fragments here, first up, I'm going with Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy minus 10 to discipline. So this could be weapon damage, ability damage, doesn't really matter. You're going to get that grapple back even faster, no matter what you do. Next up, I have Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, weapon final blows create a tangle plus 10 to strength. So it doesn't have to be a strand weapon, but as long as we have that Woven Mail active, we can create tangles, which allow us to shoot, throw, and even grapple to really go far if you would like. Next up, we have Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short duration, plus 10 to mobility. And as we know, when Levi is flying around, he can switch out those blades on the ODM gear pretty quickly, so Thread of Ascent giving us that free reload on the grapple, it's going to be very nice. Lastly, I have Thread of Continuity. Suspend, Unravel, and Sever effects applied to targets have an increased duration, plus 10 to strength. So again, Unravel, Sever, and Suspend are the 3 debuffs that pretty much we can allow with the Strand subclass, and having those things last longer, plus have little bonus to strength, is always going to be a bonus. Next, let's go over the armor mods that I'm using. So the main thing to note here is Heavy Ammo Finder. Increases the drop chance of heavy ammo on a kill. Again, we want that sword ammo as much as we possibly can. And I would just put on a Siphon mod that matches whatever weapons you're using, so you can create Orbs of Power on rapid weapon final blows. Then lastly here, I have Ashes to Assets. Gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. But if you did want to change this out for something like Heavy Ammo Scout to allow your teammates to get heavy ammo as well, I think that's perfectly fine. On our gauntlets here, we're rocking Impact Induction and Momentum Transfer, so whenever I do damage with my grenade or my melee, it gives cooldowns to both of those. So it's kind of like a synergy thing, which is really good here. And then lastly, I have Heavy Handed. Your powered melee final blows create Orbs of Power, so whether it's the Threaded Spike or the grapple melee, it will create an Orb of Power. On the chest piece here, you can rock whatever combination of reserve mods and resist mods. Just make sure that your reserve mods match the energy type of the weapons you're using. On the boots here, I'd recommend at least one weapon surge that matches your weapon type. So again, for example, I'm using arc weapons, so your arc weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. If you don't know how armor charges work, essentially if you pick up an Orb of Power, you will gain an armor charge, and if you have any of these blue mods on, it puts a timer on the armor charge of 10 seconds. Base-wise, you can have 3 armor charges at a time in 10 seconds each. That's 30 seconds of bonus weapon damage if you don't pick up an Orb of Power or somehow gain another armor charge from a teammate or whatever. There's plenty of other ways to do it. So that's how that works. There's a way to extend it, which I'll explain on the class item, but I am also rocking on the boots Double Innervation here. Reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. Then last on the class item, I'm rocking Double Bomber here. Reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability, and then also Time Dilation. Again, your decaying armor charge has a longer duration, so that 10 seconds I mentioned actually gets bumped to 15 seconds. So if we have 3 armor charges, each lasting 15 seconds, that's 45 seconds of bonus weapon damage. Now for stats to focus on, first up, we always talk about this every video, Resilience. Having tier 10 Resilience, 100 Resilience gives you a 30% damage reduction. Again, we want survivability, and that's going to help us tremendously. Next up, I would focus on Discipline. Again, Discipline is tied to our grenade stat, and the faster we can have our grapple, the more flying around we can do. Now for the other ones, I would focus on Mobility as well, because Mobility is actually tied to our class ability on the Hunter specifically. So the higher Mobility stat that you have, the faster you can have your dodge, or allow you to use it for the Ensnaring Slam, again, suspending those targets. In regards to your weapons, for primary and energy, it honestly doesn't matter what you're using as long as it matches your Siphon, your reserves, your weapon surge mods. Those are the big ones here. But for the heavy, I would recommend a sword, specifically a sword with the perk called Eager's Edge. Gain increased sword lunge distance immediately after switching to this weapon. This perk has gotten nerfed, buffed, changed around ever since the 30th anniversary pack came out. And honestly, it's still a great perk just for mobility's sake. So if you can grapple, swing the sword, lunge farther, use the next grapple, you can pretty much traverse a map in a matter of seconds. I don't want to dive too much into the synergy on how the build works, because honestly, all you have to know is that whenever you use your grapple, you're going to get Woven Mail, you get a weapon kill that's going to spawn a tangle, and everything else that you're going to be using in regards to your melee, your Ensnaring Slam, your dodge, anything else you're going to be using basically just helps the cooldown of that grapple and is going to allow you to constantly use it to have that increased damage resistance constantly. Everything else on the subclass just helps you out in regards to longer suspend, getting the grenade back faster, auto reload when you use the grapple, having 2 grapples. Again, it's basically meant for you to constantly to be able to fly around. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Attack on Titan Levi Ackerman Hunter Strand build. I'm going to put the dim link in the comments. I'm actually going to pin it right to the top of the comments. So if you want to use exactly what I'm using in regards to fashion, abilities, armor mods, all that jazz, again, that's going to be in that dim link. Put it on and let me know what you guys think. If there's any changes, anything that you would suggest, again, put those in the comments. I'm testing this stuff in this game all the time. And so I'm definitely willing to hear you out in regards to fashion as well. In any event, guys, if you have any other anime build suggestions for me, let me know in the comments. And if you like what you saw, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn the bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another video here on the channel. If you didn't know, we actually stream live 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Friday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, we're mostly streaming on YouTube and Kick, but if you want to stay updated with where I'm streaming, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ItsDaveTV. Always give updates to where I'm at and just other news in general. And then also join my Discord. That link will be in the description. Again, that's where we're going to be talking whenever we're doing raids together, PvP, or just playing a variety of other games and vibing out in the Discord. But we also have other topics in there like PC tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you didn't know, we hit YouTube partner here on the channel, which is freaking awesome. It's given us a lot of opportunities. One of those things being memberships. If you don't know what a membership is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, it is just another way to support me here on the channel so I can continue making this content for you guys. If you would like more information, all you have to do is just press the join button next subscribe, and that will give you a rundown with all the details you need regarding emotes, the monthly badges, and other exclusive things here on the channel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.